All right, welcome back to Q1 Week 2 Booty Beach. We are on day 2. On day 1, we had 3 videos on day 1. We broke it up into smaller chunks for you. We had the Pirate's Chest is what we started on, so you actually have your Pirate's Chest finished right now. The first video of the first day, we talked about the preferences so that they're set up properly. The second day, we actually made the box itself. And the third day, we made the mound of gold and gems. So that's all done now. If you have more gems or you did a whole bunch of other stuff, maybe you put some other cool stuff in there, that's great. Today we're going to actually build the island, the Lonely Island. So the goal here is we're going to make an island which will be using the same sort of soft selection modifiers we used yesterday with the gold pile. And then we're going to create a plane for the water. And then we're going to add palm trees, which look really complicated, but the nice part is they're already in the software, so we can just basically drop them in. And then after that, we got to make sure we talk about extensions. So you're going to add more plants or put some more stuff in there, maybe do some more modeling and add that in. So let's move on. Here we are at the end of Q1 Week 2. Day 1, so I'm going to go ahead and save this before we get started. I'm going to save it as Q1 Week 2 Day 2 start, and there, save. Okay, great. So now we have this file. You'll notice I hit Shift F right at the end of the last video so we can see this box. This box is what we render, right? And generally we render in a very specific style. So let's go ahead and set that up. If you hit F10 on your keyboard, the function 10 key, it'll bring up your render setup. And your render setup right now is set to the time output is single. That means we're only going to do one frame, which is what we want. We're going to come down here to output size. Right now it's 640 by 480, which is a pretty low resolution image. We're going to actually bump that up. But the easiest way to do that and to get to something that makes a little more sense, we're going to go for output size. Instead of custom, we're going to go to HD TV. That way it'll look good on 16 by 9 monitors and stuff like that. So you're going to set it. It's already set to 1920 by 1080, so we can go ahead and click that. And when we render it now, you'll see it's just a higher resolution image. So it doesn't matter until we actually save the file, which we haven't done yet, but that's okay. You can close this for now. So we've set this up. We can actually close this. If we zoom out, and I've got the zoom tool selected and it's down here, you can just left click and drag to zoom in and out. We can also hit Shift F and see exactly how much image we're getting cut off. All right, if I move this over, you'll see that this part here is getting cut off. See that? So I can actually make sure that my render is perfectly centered like that. So if I click render, actually I should have just hit F9. It'll do that for me. Great. Great. Close. All right. So now we've got this set up, and that's great. But what we want to do now is build our island. Okay. Now, once again, if we're using soft selection and we're going to try and build an island, we need to make sure that we have a plane that we are going to soft select. Luckily, we already have a plane that we can modify, and that's right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit top view. So hit T for top. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to drag this out like that. Okay? And I'm going to call this island. All right? Great. Click OK. And once again, we're making a copy. Not an instance or a reference. Okay, so this is my island. Now I can rescale this whole thing. Just scale it up. Grab it from the center, scale it up. If I hit W, I can move it down, and you can see already that it's kind of like an island. I can scale it out along the y-axis to sort of make it a little more circular, and you can see just from the grid it kind of looks like an island already. That's great. That makes our life a lot easier. Okay, so we're basically done with that section. If we wanted to, we could sort of play with it. Let's go ahead and right click on the island, and we are going to isolate this selection. When we do that, our chest disappears, everything disappears, so all we have is the island. Now let's make it a little bit different, because right now if you go in the material editor, the gold is what's actually going to apply to our island. So if we actually rendered this out, it would look like that. And that's not what we want. We want to make sand. So let's go ahead and scroll down to this swatch here, which is 13. I'm going to call it sand, S-A-N-D. Right? I'm going to go with an orangish, like a light, maybe a washed out version. There we go. That looks sandy to me. And now once again, go to maps. So I picked a sand color by clicking on the diffuse, which was right here. I'm going to go down. I don't want it to be glossy, but I definitely want the specular level to be somewhere there. We can soften it a ton. And we don't want it to be glossy, but we definitely want some specular level. Okay. Now for the bump's going to be easy. We're going to just go with a, let's see, a dent. Let's go with noise. Noise looks good. Now we're going to have to increase the tiling. Let's go by like 100. I'll double click that. See, now we've got like a sort of dusty feel to it. I'm going to just click and drag and let go. And now when we zoom in and render it, F9, it's got a much sort of a soft edge to it. Maybe the tiling's a little too high. Let's try 50 and see how that looks. Double click on that. That looks a little bit better. Render that out. F9. That's going to be pretty good. Once again, you can adjust this and we can actually increase the amount. So I'm going to go to the parent, because what this is, this bump channel is the parent. If we click on this, we're actually modifying the map. So if we go up to the parent and we make sure that this image shows shaded material and viewport, which is what we want, because we have this selected. On the bump, I'm going to bump this number, bump the bump to 60. Try it again. Render. Alright, looks pretty good. I like it. Now, I want to make it a little more drastic. It's a little too squarish for me. Let's go ahead and we have the object selected. So if we click the Modify tab, we can select one of our sub-objects. And I'm just going to hit the number 1 on the line, number line, and that gives me vertices. I'm going to come up here to my tool selection, or my selection type, and I'm going to change it to the spray paint can that we used before. I'm going to hold, let's see, I'm just going to click and drag in a little bit, maybe like that, and then come out here. Once again, you can do what you want. I'm going to try and put in. I'm going to adjust my soft selection. I'm going to expand this out. This section right here, I expand this out, so I've got 2 sets of tools. Go all the way down to soft selection, which for me is on here. Yours might be somewhere else, but you're looking for soft selection. I'm going to use soft selection, and now you can see I've got rainbow colors all over. I'm going to hit W so I can move it up and down. Now this is totally up to you. If you want to move yours around like this, you can. You can let go, and you'll notice it changes a little bit more every time. You can go in and add some more, like this. Give it some more shape. You can grab just a couple and move them up. Grab, oops, make sure when you grab in between vertices, otherwise sometimes it gets a little weird. There. That looks pretty cool. Once again, we don't really care about any of this stuff out here because it's going to be under the water and we're not really going to see it, because we're going to make water that's not really see-through. Right? Let's go ahead and take that, move that down. Great. Move that down. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, so there's my island. Maybe more of a cove. There. Cool. Once again, it's all up to you. It's not really something you have to worry about too much. It's one of those things you just sort of play around with. Make it so it's something you are proud of. There. I kind of like that. Great. I'm going to turn off the vertex subselection. Go back to the Create tab. Now we're going to create some water. Okay? To create water, I'm going to go to the top view, zoom out, and I'm going to create a plane. Now I'm in extended primitive, so I need to go back to standard primitives in the pull-down menu. and then click plane. Now when I create this plane, I'm going to use the keyboard entry like I talked about before, and I'm going to make sure that my parameters are set the way I want it. Since it's going to be water, we are going to have some ripples in it. Okay, so, and we'll add that in a second, but right now under length segments, let's go to 40. Width is 40. And then render multipliers. What this does is it makes it, when you render it, it expands it out. It makes it, multiplies how far out you see it. So I'm going to change this to something crazy like 500. That's going to make this thing 500 times bigger when I render it. Alright? And the density will also adjust the how dense the file is when I render it. Okay? Alright, great. So, length segment's great. There'll be 1600 total faces, which will be a whole bunch of verts. And my length and width, I'm going to set that, under keyboard entry, I'm going to set that to like, I don't know, let's do 2000 by 2000. And then hit create. Boom. So, what I've done is I've created a plane here, and it's green. We'll fix that in a second. But when I render it, you'll notice if I render it, I'm going to hit P for perspective. If I render it, oh my. Okay, it's too big for the plane. That's odd. Let's go ahead and turn that scale down to like 50. 50. Actually, we would probably leave the density at like 5. Let's render that. There we go. So you can see that it extends way out into the sunset, and that's kind of what we want. There, render. So it looks like the ocean just keeps going and going and going. Perfect. Now, this part's basically done. What we need to do now is we need to go into our material editor, and we're going to create water. Okay, so click on this and call it water or ocean or something that makes sense. I'm going to call mine water. On the diffuse map, we're going to make sure it's blue. Although really, we're going to change that because we're going to want it super specular and super glossy. Alright, good. You can soften a little bit, but really that's what we want. Now under maps, that's really what we're going to want. We can add a bump map to it. So it's like, what's good? Maybe a marble. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. If you right click, you can drag and rotate and sort of see how it looks. It's kind of good. It might be a little heavy handed. So I'm going to go to the parent and I'm going to knock down the bump level to like 10. So we get some ripples in it, but it's not crazy. Okay. Now, hit M for material, and then right click, drag and copy. So I'm going to drag and copy on, undo that, drag and copy onto the plane, and then you can rotate down and render and see how that looks. Alright, it's kind of cool. Some fun little ripples there. Now, that's great, but what we really want to do is we want to actually modify this geometry a little bit. So we're going to click on this plane, this is our plane, which I'm going to call water plane. Alright, water plane. So island and water plane. And I'm going to go to the modify tab. Under the modifier list, I'm going to type in ripple. RIP is probably enough. If I click ripple, now we can adjust how high our ripples are. Alright, how big our wavelength is. You can see it's starting to ripple now. Good. Phase is how far it is in there. Amplitude 2. There. So what we're looking for is a little bit of distortion. So it looks like 5 centimeters is good. I think I'm going to bump mine up to, 5 for both. I think that'll be good. 5. There. Render that out by hitting F9. Alright, cool. Cool. Great. So that's a good start. We've got some ripples, we've got an island. Now we've got to adjust where our chest is. So go ahead and right click. We're going to end isolate. That means under here somewhere is our chest, but I can't find it. So what we're going to do is, rather than try and find it, which we could, if we hit F3, I'm sure we could like zoom in and find it. It's in here somewhere. We could click on that. But instead, we're going to use a tool called select by list. So hit H, and it's going to bring up a setup. Now you'll notice that there's a little plus, because what this is all of the different stuff that we've created. All right, we forgot to name our gold layer. Anyway, so we are going to select chest and click OK. All right, now I can hit F3, and I can actually just drag, hit F3 and drag this up. Oh wow! So what happened is our island is still selected and still connected to our chest. So go ahead and click our island, and then click this unlinked selection, and that will break it. So now we can do that, undo that. Now hit H, select chest, click OK, and drag it up. Okay, now at this point you can resize or rescale or move things around. I'm going to rotate my chest a bit. I'm going to move it over here. Make sure you just get your chest. Move it over there. I want to put it sort of at the top of the island, like that. I'm going to leave it sitting in the sand. I'm going to rotate a little bit, just a little. Maybe even rotate it back a little bit. There. That looks pretty cool. All right, great. So now we've got this set up. Now, if we want to, we should probably rescale the whole thing so it's a little bit bigger. It's up to you. Like I said before, it's up to you. You can make it look however you want. I think that's pretty cool. Like that. And then render it by hitting F9. Alright. I don't love the way that's sitting, so I'm going to move that down a little bit and hit F9 again so I see how it looks. Cool. Great. Now, the only thing we have to add is some fun palm trees. Alright? So, once again, zoom in. Under Island, actually under Create, we have standard primitives, but actually there's a whole bunch of things here that we haven't really talked about. Today we're going to talk about AEC Extended. What that is it's for architectural design, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, but for now, today we're going to look at Foliage. So click on Foliage. It's going to have a whole bunch of stuff in there. Okay, so you can pick some trees. I think I picked palm trees before, but this yucca looks kind of cool, so I'm going to grab that and drag it over. All right, hit W, and you can move it around. So now I got a palm tree, and like I sort of showed in the preview, I'm going to turn it so it looks like an X, because, you know, it's a treasure chest. X marks the spot and all that stuff. You can resize these if you want. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, and then I'm going to hold shift and rotate it again to make another one, and then hit W, click OK, hit W, and drag it over so there's two of them right next to each other, right over my chest. Alright. You'll notice when you don't have them selected, sometimes they turn into these weird cotton candy looking things. That's because it's trying to keep the resolution low so your computer can render it well. Okay? But that's basically where we're at. We're almost done. You could argue that it might be good to bring this down. So we can select vertex again, hit Q, and select some more of this and get this out of the way because maybe it's a little too big. Just do that like that. Alright, maybe hold control if you want to add more. Move it down, move it down, move it down. There. Grab all that, move it down. There. That way we're a little more condensed. Maybe do it from this angle instead. Move that one down too. Okay. Now I'll render it and see how it looks. There. Hit hit Q, deselect this, hit W, just again, we'll put that in the sand a little more. There, cool. I'm going to fit it, hit Shift F to see exactly where your frame is going to get cut off. I want to make it look pretty good. There. Now hit F9 for rendering. And there you go. Now my world here, I'm going to grab this plane and move it up a little bit. Increase my sea level, global warming and all. F9. Cool. So there we go. Now at this point we're done. So what we need to do is render it out and save it so that we can take it home and show your mom. So or your dad or grandma or whoever. So let's go ahead and hit F9 to render once you have it set up just the way you like it. We're going to hit Save Image, which is this button over here. And now we are going to call this, let's call it number for your period, whatever period you're in, underscore your last name, underscore Booty Beach. Cool. And then for format, we're going to save it as a PNG. The nice thing about PNGs is that they are see-through, that they can be see-through. They have an alpha channel. Also, they're great because the Unreal 4 engine works well with them. So go ahead and select that. I'm going to save it there. Save. And now, when it comes to PNG configuration, make sure that you've set it to 24-bit, not 48. 24-bit looks great, and it's not as big as 48-bit. So 48-bit will be like a 9 meg file, whereas 24-bit will be like a 2 meg file. So it's a big difference, and it's totally worth changing it. So RGB 24-bit, you can leave the alpha channel on, which is great. Click OK, and it's done. You've saved it. All right, let's go ahead and close this, and I'm going to save this as the end file, save as. All right, and this is day 2 end. END, end, and I'm going to hit save, and it'll be there for you. Once again, it'll be in under the just above the comment section. You'll see the link to the Google Drive, and that's the end of day 2 of Q1 week 2. Now remember, you can do more stuff. You can add more plants. Go ahead and check out all those different plants. There's also a bunch of other fun stuff in that AEC toolbox. If you wanted, you could start, maybe make a box that kind of looks like a pirate ship. We've talked about adding or modifying vertices. We've talked about adding loops. You can actually create a pirate ship with just the tools that we've talked about so far. You could even use the AEC primitives to add like railings around the top part of the ship. So it could be pretty cool. And then also we could, let's see, where are we? You could model a sword, do all sorts of crazy stuff. All right, you could use the different palm trees, whatever you want. All right, I hope you had fun, and I hope you liked it, and I will see you next time.